Today, I'm going to be ranking all of the school subjects from worst, where it's just hell on earth, it's terrible, no one wants this, no one cares about it, it is literally like the most intolerable classes, the classes that just you could not stand, you wanted to leave, you just wanted to die, the classes that are actually interesting or spicy. Spicy meaning like you were able to use the classes maybe to get out of another class or not have to worry about this. So we're going to be ranking like that. All right, so first up, we're starting with a really good one here, band. Not going to lie, back then, I was a huge band geek. I think a lot of us had this phase. I had it in high school, and then I got out of it. Like, band was, it's cool. I mean, it's cool. It's fun to learn an instrument. But the thing is, if I'm being really realistic, actually, it was freaking hilarious. The people in the band, they were always like dicking around, just joking around. It was so funny. You know, you'd have like, and everyone was different in the band classes. That's what made it so funny. The drummers were kind of like the asshole guys that would always piss off the teacher, just be really annoying and loud. And then the trumpets, they were always the cocky. I was a trumpet player. The trumpet players were always the cocky people that just thought they were the best, but in reality they suck. Always trying to go for the high notes. You had the flutes, the pretty people, and they're like the popular ones usually. Got the clarinets. The clarinets, they're usually really quiet. Same as the saxophone people, like the altos and all that. Band, I think, was awesome. It was the best way to like miss classes. Like sometimes you would have like a concert for band, and if you had a concert, you were able to get out of like classes that sucked. It was the best thing ever. It was like a freaking get out of jail free card. So come on, guys. Band was like, it was spicy. It was one of those classes you could just get away from everything else. You didn't even have to pay attention in band if you didn't want to. I was one of the kids who did, unfortunately, but a lot of kids just didn't care, and it was like a free ticket out of like everything. So band is a freaking solid spice, bro. Drama. I never took drama, but it looks very interesting, and it sounded interesting because you get to act. I never took drama, so I'm gonna actually act. Yes, sir. So I never took drama class. Film studies. I took film studies. Film studies was really fun, but the problem for me is film studies, I am a film major, and so I did like editing and stuff like that. Most of the classes in schools nowadays, I don't know if it's just me, but they're really slow with the teaching. They teach you things that you don't need to know. And in the academic system, it's so ridiculous because I feel like they grade us on bullshit that we don't need nowadays. Like, of course, it's great to get good grades, learn things, and all of that. It helps with life skills. It really does. School is very important. Don't get me wrong. But in college, you still have to take academic things that have nothing to do with your major, and it's ridiculous. I don't think it's needed, and there's a lot of like things they don't even teach you that you'll need in your career. It's so useless. So film studies is a great class, but the grading system with schools, I don't really agree with grading systems. Like, if you agree with the grading system, I'm sorry, you're probably like that prissy kid that got all A's or something. I mean, I got all A's too, but the problem was there's a difference between like being like the smartest kid in the room and the hardest working kid in the room, if you think about it.
Incredible.
There's a complete difference. I sucked at math.
Incredible.
Math was like English. I gotcha. English, I gotcha. Writing an essay. But when it came to math, I was like, anyway, film studies, I would say it's spicy if you have the right teacher. We're going to say if we had the right teacher, film studies is a great class. Foods. Oh my God, dude, freaking lunch. You'd take your lunch, try to go to a different class, eat with other people. You'd always try to hang out with your friends, just ditch the lunchroom. And then the security guards would get so pissed off. It was so funny. They were like, why are you leaving the lunchroom? You know, I'm just trying to hang out with friends. It's lunch, you know, relax. I'm not in class. Like, who cares if I'm wandering to school? What's gonna happen? Foods is like spicy, bro. Come on now. I mean, like literally, like there's nothing better than eating food. And the lunch food actually slapped. Not gonna lie, some of the foods, like if we go to this tier list right here, some of the foods actually slapped. They had some fire ass mac and cheese. The burgers were pretty good. Some of the stuff, the dunkers. Have you guys ever had those Italian dunkers that you dunked in the sauce? That stuff was good. Oh my God, That stuff was fire. I can go on and on about food. Like, I was such a fat ass back then. I was like bloated. Like, seriously, I was so big back then. I used to eat all the time. I would drink. I was depressed as hell during high school. All right, English.
I can't believe you've done this.
For me, I think English was pretty interesting if you had the right teacher and the right book. Like, for example, if we're reading about The Great Gatsby, it was kind of interesting. The Great Gatsby is a great book. It had a lot of interesting topics to learn in it, and like life lessons, and there was some cool things to write about. We actually did an essay on Batman one time and the Joker, so we got to see the Batman movie. Those were the best in English. When you watch movies and then you have to make an essay on the movie, and if the teacher was cool enough, she would always like give you like a cool movie, not a shitty one. So honestly, English, it depends. It could be bad, it could be good. Now, if we're reading about Shakespeare, Shakespeare's like a hit or miss for me. Some Shakespeare sucks ass. But some of Shakespeare is really, really good. Like Shakespeare, it depends. It really depends. I'm not a really big reader with specific things, but if we're reading Stephen King books, oh my God, I love Stephen King. The Shining, interesting. Art.
Huzzah! A man of quality.
All right, we all had those weird hippie art teachers. Let's be honest here. My art teachers were either smoking all the time, or I had like some really weird art teachers, if I'm being honest. I had this one guy who always had this really long hair. He talked like this, man, you know, like drawing like that. He talked so weird, and not even lying. Like one time we were getting a renovation for our library in the school, and the teacher comes in. He's like, "Yo, guys, you got to get a whiff of this new library. It smells like good in there." I was like, "What the heck? What is this guy tripping?" So weird. It's so weird. So weird, dude. So honestly, art. But the thing about art is you can just BS art and say you're bad at it and still get a good grade most of the time. Art was like one of the spiciest classes to get away from stuff. Like, let's be honest, like if you took art, it was so easy most of the time, and art was just so good. Cosmet did not take that, actually. Math.
No. Please, Larry, you don't understand.
If you get a good math teacher, and I'm gonna say this about any class, this is 100%, I'm spitting facts here. If you can have a subject you don't like example for math, but if you get the right teacher, it could be the best class of the entire school year. You just need to get the right teacher. If you have a teacher that's happy about their class, they're excited, then it's going to be a good class, and if they want to help you. But if you get a teacher that's depressed, just hates their life, wants to make kids miserable, which we've all had that, then it's going to be the worst freaking class in history. So math, mostly for me, it's like passable or useful to learn. It's kind of like between these two. Did I like it? No. Let's be honest here. Math is boring as hell, man. Like, I mean, of course you need to know math, like your 2 + 2 and all that. But you learn that crap in like 2nd grade, and you know, it really depends on what you want to be. Like if you want to be an engineer, you need math. You need math. My dad is an engineer, so, and he's incredible at math. Like I don't think he's as good with English. He wasn't the best with helping me with essays, but when it came to math, he was the guy to help. And math does come in clutch. So I would say it's boring, but yeah, social studies.
I do that.
Just, it's a bunch of dead people. You gotta memorize. So, social studies was like memorizing like tons and tons of people and dates. I hated that. There was some things about social studies that were really important, but the main thing with social studies is you had to memorize dates. Who gives a flying no? Oh my god, it's just, I don't care when this guy's birthday was. He died 25,000 years ago. I don't care about this. Like, there's some things that are interesting, like dinosaurs, how we became, you know, us, World War, that was important. World War I, II, stuff like that. That's really important. But when it comes to like memorizing dates, god, that shit sucked. Like, I don't give a crap when George Washington's birthday is. Like, yeah, you gotta know who George Washington is. He was a president, but like, I don't care when his birthday was. Do you think they're gonna ask me when you're getting a job? Like, so I honestly wasn't too fond of George Washington or of social studies. I think it was hell. I'm gonna be honest. Like, most of my social studies like were just hell. I just did not like it. Chemistry. Chemistry was okay. It had a lot of math in it, but there were some good moments in it. Like, for example, when you dissect frogs or dissect like animals, that was kind of fun. You got to blow up stuff. You know, you felt like you were blowing up. Like, I don't know. There were some good moments with chemistry, but it also was awful. I would say chemistry, though, is probably the best science class in my opinion. So I'm going to say chemistry is like useful. I think it's really good to know elements and your periodic table. I think that's, you know, it could be useful depending on what you're doing in life or just to have the background knowledge. So I would say it's useful to learn. Biology. Oh, the misery. I did not like bio too much, not going to be honest. When I was a kid, I got PTSD from... I got like really bad trauma. I meant trauma. I got really bad trauma from biology. I was like in this class when I was a freshman. I was a bad kid when I was a freshman, not even joking. I was horrible at freshman year and I regret it. I regret it so bad. I was treated like crap in freshman year. But the thing is, with bio, there was this one time I was taking a test and I didn't know the answer to two questions, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna fail, because it was one of those crappy tests. You know, the quizzes where you have like 5 answers, and if you get one wrong, you fail the whole freaking thing. It's like bullshit. You fail the whole goddamn test because you miss one. You miss one. So you have to know everything, and it's awful. It's the most just awful thing on earth. Anyway, I was taking the test or the quiz, whatever it was, and I was like, oh crap, I don't know these 2 answers. So I took my phone out and, you know, Quizlet, freshman year, Quizlet, you know, and I by accident had my volume all the way up, and it was like saying like some weird thing, like, I don't know, it was saying some weird word like pesticide, son. And I was like, so I instantly just like freak out, and my teacher, she was this big lady, she was like, what was that? It was their phone. She started, you know, getting out of her seat, like looking around. And then my stupid ass, you know what I do? You want to know what I do? I literally take the phone. I take it back out. And I try to get the answer still. And then I hit the button again by accident. And then the kid on the side of me, like, looks at me. And then the teacher notices me. And I'm like, oh, shit. So she takes the test. She rips it in front of me. I start crying, dude. I was like, oh my God. I never ever cheated again after that, ever. Bio, I mean, when I did pay attention after that, it was okay. It's kind of boring for me personally. I'm not a big science major. It's not hard to learn it if you really, like, you know, study everything. It's not that bad. It's been a long time. I'm very dry right now, so I would say it's kind of boring for me. Physics is like passable. It's not bad. There's a lot of math in it, but I like it more than math, honestly. I think it was okay. Yeah. French, I never took French. Never took German. Spanish I took, and again, these classes are about memorization if you're learning a language. I wish I took something like Korean, because I actually want to learn Korean one day. I want to learn how to dance, and I want to learn how to speak Korean. Spanish was okay. It wasn't my favorite language. It was... Let's take it like this. I only know probably like 20 words in Spanish, and I took a whole 3 years of Spanish. Let's leave it like that. So I'm going to say Spanish was kind of like boring. It was better than biology or math, though. It's passable. It's passable. You know, it's passable. It's an easy class. It's not hard. Just memorize what you got to memorize. It's not that bad. American Sign Language, never took that. Media design. Photoshop, bro. I love Photoshop. Photoshop's awesome. This class, spicy for me. Spicy. I wouldn't say it's actually spicy. Is like, it can get you out of other stuff. It's like the best of the best. I would say it's interesting. It's not like spicy. For me, I love it. But the thing about film studies is that the way they taught was so bad that the class was so easy. But with Photoshop and media design, some of these teachers give you like projects that just suck ass. You know what I mean? It's not even like learning Photoshop. It's kind of like learning, it's kind of like doing projects that have nothing to do with Photoshop, like learning Photoshop. Like there's a million ways to do different things in Photoshop, but they'll be like, oh, you have to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, it's wrong. I hated teachers like that. Teachers like that just were the worst. Like if there's so many ways to do something, and a teacher that is fixated on one specific way to accomplish something in a test or in a project, they just piss me off, man. Like, God, like with editing, you can do so many things different ways, and God, I hated that. So honestly, the teachers I had, I love Photoshop. I use it for a living, Premiere and After Effects. But the teachers I had, they gave me some really bad projects. I would say it was like passable at that point. Like it was so boring. Boring. Outdoor education. PE. I was fat as heck during physical education. PE. Nowadays, I would love PE. I love working out. I love going to the gym. I love running. I love lifting. I love it. I wish I was like in shape like back then, like I am now. I love to run miles. I just love to lift. I love like, you know, doing your leg day, your arm day, your biceps, your triceps, your back, getting your cardio in. I love it. I honestly wish I could retake PE because working out is one of my favorite things. It makes you feel good. But if we're talking about back then, I hated it. I was fat. I mean, I was fat, dude. Like I was like trying to get to the other side. I was doing the pacer test, like feeling like bad for myself. I was like, so I was like, you know, that, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, I had asthma too as a kid, so it was harder for me. But now I would say PE is a spicy class for me. Most people hated PE. You know what I did? Oh wait, outdoor education, physical. I'm just gonna count this as the same thing because I never had, we're just gonna go to physical education gym. I never had outdoor education. What the heck is that? We had one thing I hated about gym though, swimming. There was like a whole 2 weeks we had to take like a swim class. So we had to like literally go in the pool, get out and get to your next class. And you were wet as shit. You were like leaking on the floor and it was like disgusting. I hated that. So for me, I had a horrible experience with PE. But nowadays, it was hell back then. PE was hell for me. I was fat. What do you expect? You think a fat kid's gonna be able to swim, be able to run? It was so bad. But I mean, if we're talking about nowadays, dude, right now, I would love that crap. Be awesome. Freaking badminton, basketball, football. I love that stuff now. I just, it's so fun. But back then, it was hell. Absolute hell. So I'm ranking this like with my experiences in school. Photography. I took one photography class. The teacher had no idea what he was talking about. He literally did not talk about the three main aspects of photography: your ISO, your aperture, and your shutter speed. That is your exposure triangle, what makes up your camera and how like you're taking your photos, like the light, how much light's going into the camera, the ISO, the International Standard Organization, like all that stuff. Whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. I can nerd out about this crap all day. But for photography, the teacher I had, he didn't know what he was talking about. I think he really hated his life or something because I don't know. Because seriously though, the teacher was really always so sad. The guy I had, and he never wanted us to succeed. I feel like he just did not like his job, and I felt bad, genuinely, like really bad. So for me, I had a horrible time. Like I fell asleep in the class like sometimes because it was just not interesting. I could literally, for that class, go outside, take a photo with my phone, and it was fine. It was like an A. I'm not even joking. It was so bad. Such a bad class. This is what I mean about teachers though. You have to have the right teachers because they should be excited about something like this. If I was teaching about editing or fitness, I would be so excited about it. I'd be like, you know, not overly excited. I mean, maybe some days, but I'd be very excited to like teach what I love. I mean, if you love something, you should be happy teaching people and like giving them knowledge and, you know, just learning yourself because you learn as you go. But most of the people just didn't care. Most teachers just don't care. They hate their jobs. Why even become a teacher if you, like, seriously? My girlfriend, she teaches, she works at a preschool. She loves kids. She is the best with kids, and I honestly just, she works so hard with it, and she does such a good job. It's really refreshing to see that someone that loves their job, and that's the thing. Like, you really need to find something that you love. You cannot do something you don't like, because you're gonna make other people miserable. You're just gonna ruin. It's not fair to kids if you're gonna treat the class like garbage. And
Look, you're a simp.
psychology, learning about the way people think and the way people act and why they act. Very interesting. Psychology actually is very interesting. I think it was one of the coolest classes. There's a lot you can learn from it. We learned a lot about dopamine, how cell phones produce dopamine, and like all that kind of thing. Dopamine's like that chemical that releases in your brain that makes you really happy or something like that. It's been a while. Robotica.
No.
I did not. Oh, robotics. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Robotics. I did not take that, but that would have been interesting. Robotics sound pretty cool. If you took robotics, let me know down below. Yoga. I didn't take yoga either, actually. Surprisingly, that would have been... Yoga's very... a lot of guys think yoga is stupid, but the thing is, yoga is so important, especially for working out. You need to stretch. Personally, I don't stretch enough, so I have to. I should be doing that more. I'm probably going to be doing that more, honestly. I wish I took yoga, but I didn't. So this is what I would say for my list. I am pretty basic. I think English was my favorite one, like the basic one that I loved. Now, just because they're below here doesn't mean I don't know them. It's just my experience with each class and the teachers I've had, all of that stuff. And now if we go to the school lunch, dude, we got to go back to these lunches really quickly. You remember the quesadillas and all this stuff? Oh my God, the fish sticks were awful. I hated the fish sticks we had. Okay, I'm getting distracted though. The mac and cheese though was so good. That was so good. Oh my God, do you guys remember that? People, or you bring your own lunch, like Lunchables. I would always bring like Pop-Tarts and Lunchables, and I was so fat back then. It was so fun. Now I never eat anything good. All I eat is like grass and anyway, this is my list. I think this is pretty good. Yeah, again, this is my experiences with school. I had some really interesting times. I pranked my teachers at times, and I was kind of crazy back then. I've definitely evolved. If I went back to school now, do I think this list would change? 100%. I think I actually like learning. If you have a good teacher, I think school is very fun. If you have a bad teacher, which is mostly 80% of the time, then I think the class is very boring and it's the worst thing on earth. It's hell. So I think it really depends on that factor. But anyways, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this list. And also, this is my opinion. This is my personal experience of what I've had. It's not even opinion. It's really just what I've had for experiences with school and all of that stuff. If you guys have had different experiences, leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video.